Good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome to Screen Junkies Universe. We are going to do this entire episode as if we are a metal band. Spencer Gilbert.
Oh, I thought we were doing new metal.
New metal, yeah.
It's just one of those days, Ruff.
Calling Limp Bizkit a metal band is a disservice to metal.
Yeah, we were doing
to music,
new metal
Yeah.
voices.
to the alloy metal.
All right,
You name it.
Dan Merle already on fire today. Joe Starr is here.
Let's talk about films.
Let's talk about films and things. It's going to be a quick show today, just to give you a heads up. We have somebody coming in to do an interview, very fun stuff, which will be coming at you next week. But it's going to be a great one at that because we have a really good question from a fan. So Wilder asks, do you guys have any movies or TV shows that you think are really great, but just can't ever watch again because it's too much? Now, it's funny because Billy and I were talking about this earlier this week. I watched The Handmaid's Tale. And not this week's episode, but the one prior was torturous. It was a great episode of television. It was beautifully executed, very well acted. But by the end of the episode, I was sobbing, and not in the cathartic way, but in the actual, like, painful, now I'm depressed for a period of time way. And I didn't know if I could come back to the show. I did, because that's addiction. But do you guys sort of have examples like that in movies or television? Things like Requiem for a Dream, for example. Irreversible, if you've seen that, Jim.
Requiem definitely falls under a category of movies that I call, I don't need to see that ever again. Where they're good, but I don't need to put myself through that ever again. Grave of Fireflies is one. Beautiful movie, but it is literally just a feeture film about two children dying slowly. Spoilers.
Historical spoilers.
Historical spoilers. And Pan's Labyrinth is another one for me, where it was beautiful. It's a wonderful film, and then crushed me by the end, and I don't need to go through it again.
Oh, I love Pants. I feel like
Oh, I do too.
That's
but
fascinating.
I just never want to look at it again.
What about you, Spencer? Do you just like the pain?
Well, I'm trying to think of a good example for me.
Sorry.
But the only one that's springing to mind is also The Handmaid's Tale, because I was watching this season and I stopped when literally the episode description, it's usually like, Offred makes a discovery and Gilead is tested. This one is like, content warning, disturbing for most viewers, do not watch if sensitive. And I'm like, what do I want to do? What do I put myself through this for? I just got off work. I don't want to watch that.
Was it so it wasn't this week's, last
week's, that's where I stopped.
No, it really was.
Yeah.
So disturbing.
I'm not, why?
Because
I mean, I know why, but like...
I don't know. That's what we're talking about, because I will never rewatch this series. But it is really one of the better shows on television right now. And I think the reason last week's episode was particularly disturbing, and I don't want to get into too much because it's spoilers, is that it was very relatable to things happening in our world. Dan, how about you? Are there things like things that you just can't watch more than once, or that you've ever left in the middle of?
Black Mirror is one that I love, but I cannot watch more than one at a time. It's just almost like 80 to 90% of Black Mirror episodes are wonderfully written and shot and acted, but are just a torturous journey through miserable people's psyche, torture, death, guilt, brokenness. And it's like, I remember Mara and I were watching, and she hadn't seen one, and I was trying to go through, like, oh, which one should we watch? And I remembered one that I remember being really good, but it was the one where, like, you record your memories.
Oh God, the
God.
crocodiles.
Yeah, but then I've been watching it, but then watching it back again, it was just like, it was over, and it was like, God, why did I do that? Now it's just
Kills
sad.
a toddler.
Yeah, that one is not the one to
No,
rewatch.
it's the one. No, it's the one where you record and you play back your memories, like the guy.
Oh,
goes,
that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
that
Oh,
one.
not the prison one.
No, not the prison one.
And not the lady serial killer, because everyone the
No, I haven't
police
even
can play
gotten to
back
that
her
one yet.
memories.
That's the thing. Like,
Oh,
I haven't
sorry.
even gotten to
Totally.
I haven't even gotten to all of them, because it's like, when are you in the mood to like I have to be in a particular mood, and not a very good one, to watch Black Mirror, because I'm like, well, do I want to be bummed out right now? Usually no. I'm gonna watch the Great British Baking Show. But so Black Mirror is one that's just like, it's a incredibly well done show that I am very rarely ever
I'm in
the mind space.
I'm in the
to
same
watch.
boat. I think a season and a half behind, because I have to wait for whatever that weird, sad mood that looks like the nothing from Neverending Story descends over me to, like, watch that show. 6 Feet Under was another one for me. My wife found out that I hadn't seen it before, so she got real excited because she really loved that show. And this is before Netflix was a thing, so we went out and we found the box sets and we just started cranking through 6 Feet Under. And after like 3 nights of watching 3 to 4 episodes at a time, I tapped. Like I couldn't.
You just couldn't do it.
I could not do it. I can't snort pure sadness that many nights in a row.
Well, speaking of mainlining despair, this is the interesting thing too about the difference. I think for me is that if I'm already in a sad place, the worst possible thing that I can do is escalate it. So I actually typically, if I'm already feeling kind of down, will gear towards comedies for a period of time, which is what I should have done last weekend, but instead I binge watched The Staircase, which brings us to, that's Billy's line. He can't watch that more than 1 or 2 episodes at a time, but I couldn't stop watching The Staircase.
Me neither. I wanted to get through. I wanted to know everything. I was like, tell me everything. I have to know
still
all
need
of
to
this.
know. What do you think?
What do I think?
We'll talk about it later.
So many
'cause people-
theories.
So many things.
So many things not, by the way, in the documentary that
Yeah.
are very. That is a very biased documentary.
It's
Reading about the case afterwards, they selectively excluded some very key pieces of information that color the case in a completely different light. I have to say, like, it's a fascinating documentary, but if it was the goal is to be kind of an unbiased look at all the facts, it is not that.
It's fascinating because by the end of it, because I went down that rabbit hole too of like, let me find out more from the prosecution side, because what happened was the filmmaker was trying to show it from both sides, but then the prosecution cut him out about 3 weeks in. So it's fully from the defensive side, which makes it a point of view. To your point, Dan, I walked away thinking, I don't know if this guy is innocent or not, but I do know he did not have a fair trial.
I believe.
Yeah. That was a segue. That was just an aside on The Staircase. But true crime stories, do those get to you more or less than like a narrative? Like, is Black Mirror in a weird way harder to watch than a true crime?
For me, yeah, because it always ends badly. At least if I'm watching a true crime story, there's the thing of like, if he didn't do it, maybe he'll get out, and if he did do it, maybe he'll get caught. Whereas generally when I'm watching Black Mirror, I'm like, well, I don't know what's going to happen, but everyone's going to be sad and miserable at the end. I know that much.
There's a difference to me between a fictionalized program and then actually just watching a very like dry true crime documentary. Dry is not a fair term, but you know, it's sort of a straightforward, this actually happened. And to me, it's the difference between watching real football and then watching a football movie, where a football movie can just like skip any boring stuff about the sport and really just hit you with like, here's the really heavy hits, here's all the just hardcore emotional stuff, here's the coach speech before the game, like boom, this is like the emotions you're supposed to get from football, like distilled, and we're going to pour it into your brain. And that's the difference to me between like making a murderer and say like a Handmaid's Tale, where Handmaid's Tale is just like, no, here's just everything, like deal with it. And we're making a murderer can be like, here's an interview with a witness, and here's some information about the process and blah, blah, blah.
So you guys are saying that it's easier for you to watch true crime than it is for to watch fiction?
So I think sometimes, because it depends on the story and how disturbed. Because then I watched Evil Genius and was purely disturbed and upset by that. I think in The Staircase, it's tragic no matter what, because the person lost their life. But there's a possibility that it was an accident, a tragic accident.
Yeah.
So it's not as dark as like, definitely this is a person that murdered lots of people.
Man, I got burned by the true crime train, and I am so off of it at this point. I think the only good one ever made is The Jinx, where the guy takes a crap and confesses to murder because there was an actual conclusion to it. I'm so tired. And the first time was great. They got me with Serial. They got me with the nun one, The Keepers. Yeah, but then they're always like, well, who's to say who really did kill Marguerite on that fateful night? I guess we'll never know. Well, fuck you! That was my life. I would have rather watched a depressing Dark Mirror episode where I saw some finality to it. I'm sick of true crime.
You have a point.
You have a point. Because I will say I was bothered for days after The Staircase that I didn't have an answer about I didn't definitively know what had happened that night, and it really did bother me. But there's something very fascinating about documentary in general. There's a thing that a very well done documentary can do that a narrative film can never do. I don't have the exact articulation of what that is, but there's sort of like a capturing of the essence of real humanity that a narrative film is backed into a corner and can't do because it has other elements to fulfill, unless it's an experimental film that's breaking those elements. Am I making sense? Life doesn't operate that way. Life is not so ABC and clear-cut and definitive. So a documentary demonstrates that in a way that a narrative film can't. But what a narrative film does, a really good one, or television show, it makes you care about the characters so much. It puts you in their perspective. So when you're looking at Offred, June is her name, being tortured week to week to week, it's like the catharsis is really pain because you're feeling the torture through her. It's awful. And there's a difference between that, you're right, Joe, and having sort of the distance of this is testimony, you know, and like I'm going to assess it.
And there's exceptions to the rule, like the Slender Man doc.
Oh, God.
Like, that broke me. I
Yeah.
spent like 3 days after that just being like, should I ever be a dad? If I was ever a dad, could I protect kid from internet? Would I give them an iPad? I don't know. Will my kid just turn out to be a Slender Man, like, obsessed, like, child? Like, it really freaked me out.
Yeah, that one got
I also
to me
don't need
too.
to see that one ever again.
I think you're right, because it depends on the story, right? Because like Evil Genius for me, I didn't know what it was about. If you guys, that's on Netflix too. It's about 4 episodes, but it's extremely
It's about that Jesse
disturbing.
Eisenberg Aziz Ansari movie.
That's correct.
It was so disturbing, the making of that movie.
You watch someone die, and I didn't know this. Just warning, if you're going to watch it, you watch someone die in the first 5 minutes of this thing.
Oh, my.
So I turned it on, and I was watching it, going, we're not gonna. And my boyfriend went, turn away, like, because he knew what was coming. Thoughts?
I know what I'm not watching tonight.
Yeah. Your not weekend viewing is done for you. What
Yeah.
should people watch, Dan?
Well, watch what makes you happy. I don't want to sit here and tell you not to watch what you like, but I'm a very moody watcher in the sense that it's tough for me to watch something that I'm not in a mood to watch, and that's why I think shows like Black Mirror and I think honestly it's one of the reasons why I haven't even started watching The Handmaid's Tale. I've never seen an episode because all I've heard about it is kind of what you've been saying, which is like it's really good, but it is an unrelenting, brutal journey into the heart of the pit of dark despair and blackness. And I'm like,
That is the theme song.
this black hole of just agony. And I'm like, I don't know if I need that more of that in my life. Sometimes I read stuff and stuff happens that that kind of make me feel like that already. And I really don't know if I want to watch something that's just gonna bum me out even more.
That's why we've been slowly parceling out episodes of Queer Eye in our household.
Yeah.
Because we need them to last forever.
So I had to watch, if you want the ratio, it was 2 Queer Eyes for 1 Handmaid's Tale. For
that's
me,
solid
I
math.
found
Yeah.
I found that exact
Under
ratio.
Queer Eye.
Well, if we've sufficiently,
Queer Eye.
You're right though, because it just sort of also, I feel like these currently at this period of time, I should just be watching more comedies, and there's really no great ones on the air, or at least I've burned through them all. Damn it.
Well, the Greeks would say that tragedy makes your current horrible life easier to bear.
I
by
don't
comparison.
find that because it's I always forget the word.
Pathos?
No, not because of pathos. The German word for
Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude. I don't have that thing. I have some weird. I'm a pain in the ass and horrible in many ways, but I'm sure, because we all are. We all have our downsides. But I do not have that thing. Like, someone else's pain is very painful for me to witness. I don't like it. I don't ever want to see it. And even if I don't like the person, like if it's a real person I know and I don't like them, I still don't like it.
If you saw
So what do I do?
Harvey Weinstein get hit in the balls with a mallet, you wouldn't laugh?
What if there?
I mean, it really goes for anybody. It doesn't have to be limited to Harvey Weinstein.
What kind of
I'm
mallet?
of the Homer Simpson
Yeah.
man gets hit with crotch by football.
I laugh.
I laugh.
Yeah.
Is it a croquet mallet?
That was bad
Yes.
math.
There's just something funny about those. It's the
Yeah.
stripes that get me.
They're highfalutin.
Even better if it has one of those squeaky things at the end, so it goes. Yeah.
What I'd like from Joe right now is to sing the Agony and Darkness theme song. like Limp Bizkit?
It's agony and darkness. It's the Handmaid's Tale. Cry in a pail.
Cry in a pail.
That's what I got.
All right, now that we have told you everything not to watch on television if you don't want to be that. Some of these are really great films or TV shows.
Sure.
Let's
They're
all
all good.
suggest something that will delight you to watch. What's delightful to watch?
Oh boy.
We've already said Queer Eye, which is fact. That's science.
Yeah, that's just pure science and math. A good sad place movie in our household, if you're in the exact opposite and you need a good thing, is we'll always pop on How to Train Your Dragon or Tangled.
Aww.
Those are sweet movies that make you feel warm. Yeah, I'll suggest those.
All right.
The show Killing Eve. I've been talking about it lately
yeah.
this week or so. It's dang good. It's
But
one
is
that-
it funny?
Yes.
Oh.
It's the tone. Do you know Fleabag? Did you watch that? Okay. It was a really interesting choice because they're these spy novellas that they hired this British writer, comedian, actress to adapt into a series. So there's a lot of jokes, but like they're subtle, and it is violent, but it is like fun. It's stylish. It's funny. It's dark. It's a little bit everything, and Sandra Oh is going to win all, and the actress who plays against her is going to win all the awards.
Oh, well, I'm
Awesome.
excited. Checking that out. Dan, British Baking Show?
I mean, obviously, yeah, the Great British Baking Show, always good. I've found, this is 100% true, I found HGTV to be very therapeutic sometimes because they're 30 minutes to an hour.
Fixer upper, man.
They always get their houses. The houses generally look nice, unless it's Flip or Flop Las Vegas, and the houses look heinous, and I don't know why they have their own show, but that's a whole other conversation. The houses generally look nice. The people are generally very nice and wholesome, easy to like people. There's no continuing thread that you have to sit there and wonder about. I mean, just if you're just like in a mood and you just need something to disconnect for an hour or two, watch some people knock down some walls and put in an island.
There's something very comforting about shiplap.
Yeah, shiplap, putting down some
shiplap for
hardwood
days, man.
floors.
Yeah.
Why not?
All right, sticking
The
with
joy of
some-
discovering a nice hardwood floor under a carpet.
Yeah.
That's a solid genre of television, man.
So
I'm with you, dude.
Extreme Home Makeover. Did you guys used to watch that?
Probably seen
That's
one
the
or
move
two.
this truck.
Move that truck.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never watched it.
It was a bus.
I
Move that
loved
bus.
it. I loved it. I know there's probably like, well, the homes would then, and they weren't perfect. I know. They got me though every week with that because they were like saving lives. But if you want to just watch some soothing Netflix reality TV that's not about a murder, I love Chef's Table. If you like food, if you like just the idea of people, I don't know, being artists and their passion and living their, like the way that these chefs deal with their food is so unique from each other and from anyone else. I love food, so it's very inspirational to watch. I love Chef's Table. I would recommend Chef's Table as a thing that you should watch. And there's both sweets and savories for you in that. So we've made some good suggestions today. Something else that's coming out this weekend that might be a little edgier to watch is Sicario 2. It's the sequel to Sicario, and it is coming out in theaters this weekend. Sacha Pearl Raver went to go speak with stars Thanos and Benicio del Toro.
Collector,
yeah.
And
And DJ.
Both Thanos and the Collector. Josh Brolin has a name. And before you watch this, I'm going to give you a little spoiler for this interview because it's very, very important. Josh Brolin thinks that no one has seen the classic comedy Falling Down, which is another film I'm going to recommend if you just need to be cheered up. Falling Down is awesome.
Wait,
it is.
you need to be cheered up.
Yeah, is it Falling Down the one where?
Michael Douglas.
That's-
Wait, no,
Douglas
not Falling
goes-
Down.
yeah,
sorry,
like
snaps-
sorry,
like snaps and kills people.
Yeah. Don't watch Falling Down.
That was an amazing troll move. If you were gonna push everyone.
Rob is just gonna power move everyone.
That was like evil Rickroll.
I would love that. If sad people. Well,
Oh
probably-
man, falling down, you guys.
Don't watch Falling Down.
When's the breakfast
Don't watch
sandwich?
Falling Down. Don't watch Falling
It's
Down.
10:01. I want my breakfast.
Oh my God, mercy! It's oh God, Flirting with Disaster. Flirting with Disaster is the movie I'm actually thinking of. I'm tired. It's Friday. Let it go. Don't watch Falling Down. Do watch Flirting with the Disaster.
Falling
Have
Down.
you
It's a
seen
good
it?
movie. I haven't seen
Flirting
Flirting with Disaster.
Flirting with Disaster.
No, I haven't seen
Oh, I'm going to assign it to you guys. We'll never really do it, though, and you guys know that. But watch Flirting with Disaster is so, so, so funny. This is very early Ben Stiller. Josh Brolin is really, really funny in this movie, and that is the one movie of all of his movies he said that he would love to see a sequel to. I'm with you, Josh. It's a great film. Everybody check it out. Check out Sicario 2. Junk it right now.
Wait. You gotta do plugs because this ends with an end card.
Fine. Also, on this weekend, watch It Could Have Been Worse on Jurassic World 2. Joe started that. It's hilarious. We have some serious questions on the Jurassic World franchise coming up on the main channel produced by this human here and all of these humans. And it's going to be very, very, very funny, and you should watch it. But you should also watch this Junket interview.
Nice.
Bam.
This is one of those rare movies that gets a sequel that isn't based on source material that's like a comic book or something like that. Why do you think this struck a nerve with audiences and they were like, we need more, we gotta do this again?
You know, I'd like to say original, unpredictable. I think audiences, they want to be surprised.
I don't know if anyone else is sick of it, but I'm just like really tired of blockbusters. Just having that option to go see. Like sometimes I want an intellectually stimulating film to go see. I don't know, maybe I'm the only one around my age.
You
but
are
I
definitely not.
Okay, well I think it's great that people have options, you know, especially in the summer.
Do you only play characters named Isabel and Isabella?
It's a requirement on all of my contracts.
This is sort of an unexpected sequel.
No.
Is there another film from your filmography that you would like to see an unexpected sequel from?
I did a movie that you're not going to know. I mean, maybe you'll know. But I did a movie a long time ago called Flirting with Disaster that I absolutely loved. I love that movie. I would love to see especially like Richard Jenkins and me as partners, I would love to see where they evolved.
You and Benicio have been partners in films 5 times.
Yeah, he's a great partner, great partner.
It's so peanut butter and jelly. Why is it so delicious?
So peanut butter and jelly. I appreciate you saying that, first of all. Second of all, I enjoy him like to no end. We have a trust for each other, that I think lends to the fact that we're able to kind of go out on a limb and embarrass ourselves in front of each other without judgment.
They're actually really goofy guys who act around the same age as me. So we had a great time.
When you have this many dudes on a set, what is it like coming in and being a young girl?
It's like awkward because I don't really know I really didn't think we'd have anything to talk about. I thought they would think I'm like into Musical.ly or like speak in millennial or iGen, I don't know. But we actually had a great time.
I want to talk to you about the way you kill the lawyer, the way you fire that gun.
Adios.
I've never seen anybody fire a gun like that.
No,
I'm
it's
saying.
just with the finger. Yeah, it's just like where I picked it up. I picked it up a long time ago at a shooting range in a friend of mine. And, you know, that would not work if you're at a distance, but at close range, it could be deadly.
It's gangster.
And then, yeah, it is a little gangster, I guess. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Benicio, my favorite scene from the first film is when he's actually holding a gun to Emily Blunt's head, and then she starts crying and he wipes the tear away.
Yeah.
And I feel like that part of the character that we saw in the first movie is what he really gets to explore with you. What was the dynamic like with you two?
Well, I first met him after the last callback that we had before I found out I got the role. And he, I guess apparently, I didn't know this, but as soon as I walked out of the room, he was like, that's it, that's Isabel. And he knew, so.
That's crazy. I mean, when Benicio del Toro was like, that's it, come on, that has to blow your mind a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, it did. And it still does to this, I mean, I just told somebody recently, it just doesn't even feel like it happened.
Thanos and Cable and Matt, they're all anti-heroes who feel like the ends justify the means.
We like the anti-heroes.
Why do we like the anti-heroes?
I don't know, because to me it's like an anti-hero, you know, or a villain or whatever you want to call it is usually presented kind of cosmetically, and then you know, we've kind of found a way to see beyond the cosmetics and the presentation and be able to get inside it. You know, I loved the reaction to Avengers. I just thought that was great because people hated him, but they loved him, but they understood his intention, but they didn't like the manifestation of the intention, you know, and all this kind of stuff. And I saw this, you know, it was great. It was great.
So I'm a huge Taylor Sheridan fan.
Oh, good. Me too.
If you were to describe him for people who don't know who he is or what he's about,
Yeah.
what would you say?
I would say he's pale. That pale guy. He needs a lot of SPF.
Do you have, I mean, obviously this is like your favorite movie of his, but when you think about his work.
Hell or High Water, but yeah.
His talent is very special, very unique right now, because he brings back something primitive, which I like. He presents the primitive, and then he breaks through that presentation with a lot of depth.
Storytellers, they use what's happening around them to create settings where they can tell stories. The problem with the drug wars and the violence, it hasn't changed in the last 40 years. So writers use this drug wars as a setting where they can tell stories that explore the human condition, good versus evil, vengeance, greed, corruption, morality, love within this, like a Western, you know.
I mean, there's so many subtleties in his writing that you can see a movie over and over and over again and always find something new.